everyone, it's Alice and welcome to the 12th episode of Hook a Duck, which is also our November TBR video. So if you've been here before, you will know every month we play Hook a Duck, we pick 6 ducks, we pick 6 books, and that's how we choose what we're reading for the month. It's actually Hook a Duck's year anniversary next month because we started in December, which is super duper cool. Didn't think we'd be doing it for a year, wasn't even sure if we'd still be doing the channel a year later when we started it, but here we are. The TBRs have not been going well recently. Massive reading slump. I think I read 3 books in September. I've currently finished 2 books this month, and one of those was a reread of Red Rising, which is my favourite book of all time, so obviously that hyped me up a bit. I'm already dived into Golden Sun, but for reading books off the TBR, it is not happening. Am I going to take a punishment pick? Yes. Am I going to read whatever comes out of this punishment pot? Probably not. So I do need to think of like a punishment for my punishment pot picks because I'm not reading those either. If you've got any ideas on either how to get out of a reading slump or ways to make this TBR game possibly more inspiring, because I found Hook a Duck really inspiring when we started it and it was helping me a lot, and just over the last few months, I don't know if it's just because I'm not feeling reading much because I'm busy with work, if it's just because I'm tired, it just doesn't seem to be working for me and I'm not really getting excited about it anymore. I still love playing Hook a Duck. I would just like to think of a way to possibly shake things up. I don't know, maybe new prompts. If you've got any ideas, let me know. And if you're still enjoying watching Hook a Duck, let me know, because knowing that you guys love it is one of the reasons I loved it so much. So if you're not feeling it, let me know and maybe we can think of something else to do. Pop pick. And then we'll go on to the hooking. Oh, this is my least favourite part of every month. And it just became my favourite part of the month. It's a fantasy book. That is very vague. Very vague. I'm surprised I have fantasy as a punishment. I did make these sticks quite a while ago when I didn't really read a lot of fantasy, but fantasy is not a punishment for me anymore. So I'm going to start hooking because this actually works very well with the first duck that I hooked. So over to past Alice. So here we go. Hook a Duck round 12. And we're going to hook 6 ducks again, even though we're probably not going to read 6 books. So for the first duck, we've got this one. I managed to not knock any more over, which I'm impressed by. So I'll just scoop up the buddy that I dropped. Oh god. And this duck is... And the first duck is a yellow duck, which is a fantasy duck. And the fantasy prompt is... And that fantasy duck's prompt is a new purchase. So the first duck that I hooked in this month's TBR was a fantasy duck, which is why I'm saying the punishment pot pick works really well because I'm doubling it up. This is my punishment, technically. And for this one, it's a newly purchased book. I'm cheating. This is a book I ordered a while ago because I pre-ordered it from Fairy Loot, but it is fantasy and it is recently being released. Like, it's just come out. But Fairy Loot's version has been delayed at the shippers. So, at the printers, not the shippers. The shipping has been delayed because of the printers. You can tell my brain's not doing very well at the moment. The shipping's been delayed. So, my copy of The Gilded Cage by Lynette Nonny will not actually be here until November, which makes it a good book to read for my November TBR. I read The Prison Healer earlier in the year and I really enjoyed it. I thought it had quite a bit of tropiness in it, but it reminded me of the old YAs that used to be my favourites. So I'm looking forward to carrying on with the series. This is the second book in a trilogy. It's following a girl who, surprisingly enough, worked as the prison healer, and she's in prison and she's healing people, and there's lots else going on. I did find some of the twists a bit predictable, but basically everything I had predicted had happened by the end of the first book, so I'm looking forward to seeing where the series could go from here. On to Past Me for my second duck. Duck number 2. And duck number 2 is a middle grade duck, a pink duck. And that duck's prompt is a newly purchased. Really getting off of the backlist books this way, aren't we? And my second duck was a middle grade duck, and this middle grade duck was a newly purchased duck. So I'm cheating again. Because why not? Why not cheat my own game this month? I'm just going to be like that. So the middle grade book I'm reading for newly purchased is actually newly acquired, and it's Frostheart by Jamie Littler. This is the first book in the Frostheart series. It's one of How to Train Your Gavin's absolutely favourite books of all time. I've heard a lot of good things about it, and I recently borrowed it from the library. So I've acquired it very recently. I'm cheating because the most recent middle grade that I purchased was the third book in a series that I haven't started yet. So I can't read that one, and I don't really feel like starting that series yet. But I do feel like starting this one, and it's getting cold and it's all icy and mountainy and middle grady, and it should be great. Gonna be completely honest with you, about 2 minutes before I started filming this, I realised I haven't actually watched the Believeathon announcement video yet. So this might work for a Believeathon prompt if we decide to do that, but I have not been organised enough to even think about Believeathon until now, a week before it starts. Why am I like this? I don't actually know anything about Frostheart apart from the fact that Gavin loves it, and I trust Gavin's recommendations because he reads a lot of middle grade, so if this is his favourite, it's obviously for a reason. So this will be on my TBR for November. Over to Past Me for my third duck. Duck number 3 is a purple duck, and that is a friend pick duck. And that friend pick prompt is a book from our Read Then Go pile. The Read Then Go pile is currently demolished in our bedroom, so that's going to be fun to ask someone to pick from. And my third duck was a friend pick duck, so instead of a friend I thought I would ask my mum to pick a book for this month. And the friend pick duck had to be from our Read Then Go pile. So I messaged my mum and I decided to cheat again, because what is more Read Then Go than a library book? You borrow it, you read it, and then you return it. So you read it and then it goes back to the library. Our Read Then Go pile is empty books that we don't think we're going to love, so we ended up donating them afterwards. But as I said, we've kind of deconstructed it recently because Sean hung a mirror where it used to be. And I just couldn't be bothered to try and get a stack together. My library books, however, were already in a nice stack of 5. So I sent this picture to my mummy and I asked her if she could pick me a book, and she chose, drumroll please, That Night by Gillian McAllister, which was not what I was expecting her to pick. I thought she was going to pick The Echo Wife, and I was excited to read The Echo Wife, but I'm also excited to read That Night, or I wouldn't have borrowed it from the library. I read Gillian McAllister's How to Disappear earlier in the year, and I liked the writing, but I hated the execution of the plot. And I said at the time I wanted to read another of her books to see whether it was just the plot of that book or whether it was going to be all of her plots that I had a problem with. So once I've read this one, I'll know whether I'm going to give Gillian McAllister another shot or whether this will be my last Gillian McAllister book. That Night is a book about a girl whose sister kills somebody and then she has to cover for her, she takes the blame, I think. So it sounds like it's going to be quite tense, a bit of a domestic thriller, family drama. It looks like it's more of a kind of beachy read, so I probably should have read this in the summer, but I didn't know it existed, and I have it now in November, so I might get some summery vibes on with this one. So thank you, Mum, for taking part in our 12 hooker duck. I kept meaning to get Mum involved earlier and just forgot about it, but at least she got to take part in the first year. Over to Past Me for our 4th duck. Duck number 4 is a silver duck, and a silver duck is a dealer's choice duck, which means I get all the power with this prompt. And this dealer's choice prompt is old TBR. Thank God I can actually get something off of my backlist. I don't know what yet. This dealer's choice duck was an old TBR book. So for this one, I've decided to go with The Screaming Staircase by Jonathan Stroud, which is the first book in the... I can't remember what it's called. I've literally just looked it up. Something and Co. Oh, let's have a look.
3 hours later.
The Screaming Staircase by Jonathan Stroud, which is the first book in the Lockwood and Co. series. I don't know much about it, but you will see shortly why I decided to pick this one out of everything on our TBR. Over to me for our penultimate duck of year 1. Duck number 5 is a green duck, which is a young adult duck. Oh my god, we haven't had any double colours yet. That's so cool. And this young adult prompt is a YouTube recommended book. So that's any book that I've seen hyped up on BookTube. And our penultimate duck was a young adult duck, and this was a BookTube recommended book. So, back to my library book pile I go for You Should See Me in a Crown by Leah Johnson. I reserved this in either May or June, and it's only just got to me, and I'm so excited to read it. It's a sapphic love story about a black teenage girl who wants to be prom queen because the prom queen will get a scholarship to the college of her choice. But there's another girl competing for prom queen, and then they end up falling in love, and it's going to be so cute, and I can't wait to read it, and it's also super short. So I have no excuse not to read this one in November. Actually read this one. Actually read a book. Alyce, actually read a book. And over to past me to pick the last duck of the first year of Hook-a-Duck. And last but not least, the sixth and final duck in our first year of Hook-a-Duck is... Oh, I'm going to go for one of the ones over here. A pink duck. So that is another middle grade duck. And that middle grade prompt is the book for the middle grade monthly of this month. Okay. And the last duck of the year was a middle grade monthly duck. A middle grade duck. I really can't speak. And the last duck of the year was a middle grade duck, and the prompt for this one was middle grade monthly. So the plan for this was to read this month's middle grade monthly book, but I'm not all that interested in it. It's called Winter House. It looks good, don't get me wrong. I'm just not that interested in it, and I would need to buy it because it's not on any of the library apps or in the library that I use. So I've decided to cheat, and I'm using a past middle grade monthly book on my TBR instead, which is why I'm reading The Screaming Staircase by Jonathan Stroud. It all makes sense now. So I've managed to double that one up. So I've got 6 books for 6 prompts. No, 5 books for 6 prompts and a punishment. So I feel like I'm bossing it this month already. Tries to read as little as possible. Feels really good about self. It's fine. I'm hoping that my brain will do better next year. Thank you for being Hook-a-Duck supporters and for watching all of these videos and for loving Hook-a-Duck as much as I do. As I said at the beginning of the video, if you've got any suggestions on how to improve it, please leave them down in the comments. I know we need to make new prompt cards so you can actually see the prompts when I hold them out on the camera. The lighting and the pen, it never works, and no matter what we try, it just doesn't seem to work. So that's something that we're definitely going to try and improve. But if you've got any ideas, please shout them out. Let us know. We'll do what we can. If you liked this video, please give it a like. And if you'd like to subscribe, we'd be super duper grateful. We're posting videos every Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday. So we will see you soon with another video. And hopefully actually read some books in November before Bookmas starts in December, when we're posting a video every day again. And it's probably going to kill me based off of how much I'm working and how little I'm reading. So where I'm going to get the content from, I'm just going to be sat here staring into space like, oh, watch a girl fall into the existential void. That sounds like a fun video concept, but stick around if you want to see me slowly deteriorate further towards the end of the year until I get to the stage where I can't even read a sentence in a month, let alone a page. I've been Alyce. this has been a mess. Thank you for watching. Bye. So the first duck that I hucked. And duck number 4 was a silver duck, which is a dealer's choice duck. And this dealer's choice duck. Oh my god, why can't I speak today? And over to me to pick our last book of the first year of Hook a Duck. The last duck.